Hi, I'm Mike Abbey from I Seek Blinds. Remember, if you like these videos, please hit the subscribe button and hit the like button so other people can learn about sheer curtains. In this video, we're talking about how to measure for your sheer curtains, and I'm going to split it into three categories. We're going to do just your regular on the wall or on the ceiling sheer curtains. I'm next going to talk about internal corners, and then I'm going to talk about external corners. So we're going to split the video into three different categories. So this is just the regular put your sheer curtain on the wall video that we're going to do now. Now let's get started. What we need is the width by the drop. Okay, so the width you give me, and there's my back to the camera, is simply the width of the track that's going to be. So it's the width measurement from there to there, just that side there. Now, I'm not advocating making any boo-boos because we don't like that, but if you do, and the track's a little bit too long, then you can just pop that little end cap out, cut the track and put the end cap back in, so it's no big deal. If things are a bit tight and you just need to trim one side of the track. Now, I don't want you to do that, but if it happens, it does. And there's an easy get out of jail free card. Now, if you've got a wall and just a regular sliding door, make it go that way, then generally I like to start 100 mils on that side and 100 mils on that side, and then that becomes my width, particularly with the sheer curtain. Now, the stack size is always 1/3, as you've seen in the previous video, so always remember to count for the stack and then look for the opening type that's going to best suit your window or door, and we've talked about those in the previous videos there. So generally for the width you can go a little bit extra. Now if you do want to go wall to wall, then you've got to consider, are you going to go from the ceiling or below the cornice? If you are going from the ceiling, then you've just got to measure between the cornices. So that would become a width measurement there. But if you are going to go on the wall and you want to go wall to wall, then you can measure from the wall to wall. But just remember to give yourself maybe a 10 mil deduction. Don't go too tight because it might be difficult to get it in the room and just make things harder than it needs to be. So that's our width covered. It's pretty straightforward. What you order is what you get, and if you get it a bit too long, cut it down, no big deal. The drop measurement is the important thing that I want to talk about today, and I'm going to give some examples of a ceiling and a wall. So in this instance here, we're going to pretend that's our ceiling and that's our floor there. So the first thing I'm going to do is measure that overall distance. So we're talking about the drop size now. From the floor to the top of my ceiling is 1960 millimeters. So I'm going to write that down. So my drop is 1960 millimeters. Now, if I wanted the curtain to go from the ceiling to the floor and actually just touch the floor, then that's the measurement that I would give I Seek Blinds. But I personally don't like that. I like to sit the curtain maybe 10 millimeters above the floor. So the drop measurement that I would give I Seek Blinds would be 1950 millimeters. All right, and that means that my curtain would sit 10 mils off the floor. Now, do not take any deductions for the track. Do not make any allowances. Just do exactly what I did then. Tell me the overall size from the top of the track to where you want the curtain to sit, okay? In this instance, because I want 10 mils off the floor, I'm gonna go for 1950. So you've got that, Kylie, on there? Okay, now, some people like the curtain or the sheer curtain to drape onto the floor, and that's your choice of how much more fabric you want us to put onto the drop of the curtain. The actual measurement is 1960, and if you wanted, say, 40 mils of fabric on the floor, then you'd order the curtain at 2000 would be your drop, and that means it's going to sit 4 centimeters down onto the floor if you'd rather that look. Okay, so that's the ceiling measurement there. Now, I'm sort of spinning around a lot, aren't I? If I want to do a wall, because I desperately look for where I put my bracket, this is the wall mount bracket for the standard track, and I've got myself a little grey pencil. So Kylie, can you just come in, and in this instance here, our cornice is too big. You know, we want to mount onto the wall. So we're going to fit our bracket there, and essentially we're going to put a little pencil mark right underneath the cornice there. In this instance, we've got the cornice to measure to, but if you were going on top of an architrave, then we'd start our measurement from the top of the architrave, but you might have a particular place on the wall that you want the track to sit. So we're going to mark that spot just there, and that will be our starting measurement, exactly where the top of the track is going to sit, which is the top of that bracket there. So again, you're just telling me the overall size. So if I start from the ground, this is going to the cornice. I'm just measuring to the underside of the cornice there, which is, oh, I thought it was the same measurement there for a second ago. It's 1900, where did I write it? Anyway, it's 1900 mils directly to the underside of the cornice. Now, I want my curtain to sit 10 millimeters above the floor. So the size that I'm going to order from iSeek Blinds is 1900 minus 10 equals 1890 millimeters. Okay, so my height measurement's the same. It's from under the cornice and it's 10 mils above the floor, and that equaled my 1890 mils. So again, do not take any deductions. Let us do all that work for you, okay? Just tell us the actual size that you need. Again, if you wanted to measure from the wall, then I've just put that mark on the wall and I'll measure from there down to the floor. I'll deduct my 10 mils for what I like in my instance, but if you want to touch the floor, then you measure to the floor. If you want it to drape on the floor, then you add those extra centimeters on. Next, we're going to talk about internal cornice, and we'll get you going from there. Thanks for watching.